Hello, Motorada World fans. I hope you are all keeping well. I hope you're a lot warmer than I am here in the UK. Snow, yes, we've had snow the last couple of days. Fantastic. We kind of to get my little boy here, Trey, 6. We had to promise him, no, you're gonna have a white Christmas. It snows, and we were kind of like biting our tongues a little bit because we weren't sure. But thankfully, we've had a little bit of snow. So yeah, nice and fresh every morning. -4, -5 degrees most of the time. It was a warm 0 and +1 today, so it has warmed up ever so slightly. Luca Jefferson, the Uncle Rob and Shez show. Thank you so much for joining us, Luca. Ian, I'm sure the whole family is joining in there. Excuse the dirty clothes there, but I just don't have time to clean the house. Just don't want to do it anymore. Tired of cleaning the house. That's one thing you have to do in the UK here is everything yourself. Mario Madeira. I never know if I say that right. Hope you're doing well, Mario. Portuguese, yeah, we got the Portuguese flavor in the house. Because Shez is kind of on the fence still. He's our South African, uh, you know, born and bred hero, but he races under the Portuguese flag as well and does a lot for that racing community as well. So yeah, glad to have you in the house. Thank you so much for joining us, Mario. Bradley Johnson, Craig Hicks. How is the snow? Yeah, Craig, it's all good. Thank you. Great to have it. Renee Solomon, Alroy Khoos, thank you so much for joining us. Sorry we had to delay this, but due to technical difficulties from South Africa's side with all the load shedding. I do feel for each and every one of you in South Africa with the load shedding. We have snow and rain and cold, but yeah, very lucky that when we turn that light on 99.9% of the time, it comes on. Sean and Ronnie, how are you? Hi, Rob. How's the snow? Yep, Sean, it's all good. Have you had snow your side? Had a nice little bit of snow here, but it has been fantastic. As I said, Darren Brown, Andre Kruger, Daniel Rodriguez, Lofty Pretorius, all in the house so far, joining us for this exclusive live chat with, how can we describe our Sheza? I'm very lucky to be able to call him my best friend. I can honestly, hand on heart, hand on Bible, say that he is one of the most talented, if not the most talented motorcycle rider I've ever seen in my life. And that's saying a lot because obviously good mates with the likes of Brad Binder, Darren Binder, who are fantastic riders and the greatest as well. But I have seen Shez do things on motorbikes that I didn't think were possible, to be honest. And he's still doing it to this day at the tender age of, I forget how old he is because I'm 40. I think he's 2 years younger than me. So I think he's 38. We're going to have to ask him. I think he's 38 because I always just associate him with 32. He's just always 32. He just never gets older than 32. But I'm pretty sure he's 38 now. But he's still running at the front of all the endurance. We're going to talk about, obviously, the Macau GP that he's just done, where he just races around this tiny little place in China somewhere where there's casinos surrounding everywhere and rubbing his shoulders on walls and all these crazy things. So yeah, lots to talk about. Mariska Hutchinson, Stephen Bain. Hey Rob, how you doing? I'm all good, and you, Stephen? Yeah, the Share Show is in the house. It's a pleasure to listen to you, Brad, Darren, ETC. I love it. Thank you so much, Mario. Ivan Newman, Paul Kruger. Hello, Robbie. Hoe gaan dit my seun? Ek hoop alles is reg daar by jou in Suid-Afrika. Daar, Paul. My Afrikaans is getting worse because I've got to talk like this now. I've got a slur. I've got to drop my bottom lip and just talk like this. It's a riff. It's not a res. It's a riff. Mickey Teal, good evening, Rob. Good to hear from you again. Unfortunately, my grandson Liam not with me tonight, but he will be back next year for the Binder Boys. Mickey, thank you so much for always joining us. Andre Kruger, when he lifts his outside foot in a corner, I always have a semi-heart attack. Andre Kruger, yeah. I know when I see those little Shez feet just like dangle off the pegs, and I've seen it, like, I promise you, when I say Shez is the greatest rider in the world, because I've followed him with some shooting that we've done for Motor Rider World, and I'll have a GoPro on trying to hang on for dear life. And then he'll go into this full Shez show, shuffle / slide / God knows what he wants to call it, with no tire warmers on, cold tires, and I think, oh God, I'm just thinking of now I've got to pay insurance bills, and then flicks it sideways, both little legs go dangling like this. It's like those videos you see on Instagram where a guy's they're throwing javelins and all of a sudden those little toothpicks hit people. You just see these little Shez legs just dangling off the side, and I think, oh yeah, I'm going to see this little guy just go flying off this bike, but he just corrects it, gets in the corner, smokes it out, and he looks back at me like, giving me a thumbs up while I'm hanging on for dear life trying to get the shot. So yeah, he gives us all a heart attack. But ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's get the man. Now please understand that Shez and I are obviously, very proud husbands, very, very proud fathers. And to do this kind of thing, we have to sneak out. I've done it a couple of times where I've climbed into the car because the house is crazy with kids jumping, screaming, shouting. So Shez has had to do the same tonight because he's got his beautiful wife Ads and his two beautiful girls, absolute beautiful girls, Piper and Parker. But they have very much taken over the house. So live from his vehicle in South Africa, Sheridan Morais.
Hey, thanks for that lekker introduction, Rob.
Yes, check it that. You got the real South African load shedding kind of scene set there.
Yo, we just came out of load shedding actually as well.
Yes, no, that's perfect in your car. But at least you can do that in your car. If I went down to my car now, I'd be covered in snow and I'd probably freeze up within 2 minutes.
Yeah. Now we're actually down in Mossel Bay now, and the kids are busy tearing the house apart. So I thought it's safer for me to come in here.
Yes, that's the best option. But I've been there before where Amy and I have got this whole plan, right? We sit the kids down and say, Daddy's got to work, Daddy's going to do this. Before I've even pressed play, it's gone thrown out the window. So then I go hide.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's crazy. But Shez, thanks so much for joining me. We're trying to keep people as entertained as possible now that there's no real racing happening. We want to talk to you about not only your World Endurance racing that you did this year, but also the Macau GP that you've just come back from. But we'll start with the World Endurance stuff. I got to experience the World Endurance for the first time this year with you at Le Mans. I flew all the way, luckily not from South Africa. I flew from the UK to be side by side with my best mate at Le Mans for the Le Mans 24-hour, one of the most prestigious races in the world. You've always told me you've got to get to a World Endurance race. It's the greatest thing ever. You gave me your luminous gold pass. I could go anywhere, do anything. And on the first day, you crash, land on your head, concussion. I don't see you the whole Friday. You left me with a whole bunch of frisked up, tattooed Polish guys that barely speak English, all by myself. I didn't know what to do. All I was told was that maybe he not come back. Maybe we don't know. Maybe he died. We don't know. And I sat there thinking, I came to the track with this guy. I don't know where I'm staying. I have one pair of undies on me for 4 days. What am I going to do? Luckily, you came back. But the moral of the story, you did tell me World Endurance is fantastic. It's bigger than World Superbikes. It's in some ways bigger than MotoGP. And I never believed you. I thought, yeah, okay, whatever. It cannot be. It's almost, and I'm one of those guys that looked at it. It's a graveyard in many ways for previous MotoGP or World Superbike riders. There's Randy DePuna, all these guys. It can't be that big. But my eyes were seriously open when I was at the Le Mans, and there were 120,000 people on race day. You couldn't stand in front of the main grandstand because they were screaming. It was louder than a Kiss concert. It was crazy. It is fabulous to be in that World Endurance paddock, and I now know why you are still, because I remember saying to you, man, forget World Endurance, go British Superbike racing or something. But actually, World Endurance is the place to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what makes the fans all come there, is because, I mean, it's very interactive for everybody. It's like kind of like when we were kids and racing, how busy all the racetracks were, both for the racers, but mainly for the fans, There was a lot for them, a lot of give back for them. And the World Endurance is still like that. It's very interactive. So everybody can still come walk around the pits, and they throw festivals at each event. They have like concerts and all stuff around like that. So I think that's what pulls in the massive crowds. But from the rider's perspective, as you know, I mean, as everyone knows these days, it's like getting really cutthroat, with teams not able to get the sponsors and stuff that they used to. Now riders are having to pay for rides and stuff, which is cutting the market, So people end up either going to work somewhere or going to World Endurance. And luckily nowadays, the World Endurance, it's like the whole class is competitive. When you go to a 24-hour event, most teams have 4 riders, 3 riders, and a spare rider. And you take that across 50 teams, that's like a lot of riders. There's actually 150 of actual races there, So yeah, it's a massive field and massive depth as well, which is good, and it's a good place to for everyone to go when they don't. For example, the people that just don't cut it, or the people that just don't have the sponsors, or what. Because it's so grueling. At least I can't think of someone that wants to race a 24-hour for fun at that level. So yeah, everybody there is going there to do a job kind of thing, and I think that's what keeps it so interesting, both from the fan side and from our side. Yeah.
Okay, before we get into how the season went for you, a question here for Craig Hickson. I saw it on Facebook. Paul Pacheco, the mayor of Portugal, or the president, whatever you want to call him. You got given an award recently. I think it was from the Portuguese Federation for your racing or something. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that's right. Unfortunately, I just come back from Macau to South Africa to spend some time with the family here in Mossel Bay. So Paul Pacheco went to collect that. He went and got that on for myself. And yeah, it was a nice gift from the Portuguese Federation, who I've been riding for since 2017. So yeah, I've got massive support from them every year in every way. It doesn't matter what happens at any event. They sort it out when it comes to the logistics and paperwork and licensing, because these days you need a license for this and a license for that, and every organization has different rules, whether it's also because I race in so many places, America, World Endurance, World Superbike, World Supersport, the Daytona 200, and I do so many events. So it's really been a key in making things easier for me and less expensive, again, because again, these days it always comes down to money, and licensing as a South African in the past, and obviously when I was living mainly in South Africa, then the licensing fees themselves are like just astronomical. So yeah, I mean, in insurance, actually, it's the insurances that really kill you. But yeah, now with the Portuguese Federation, they sort all that stuff out for me, and yeah, I got big support at events and stuff. Especially at Macau, with it being a Portuguese colony. Yes, there were so many people coming up and talking Portuguese. I'm like, sorry, I'm from the Algarve. I don't talk Portuguese.
I saw that when I went with you. I can't remember what year, World Superbikes, and I went to Portimao with you, and they went on that big loudspeaker. Bra, 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 I think it was still Rui. Bra, 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 Sheridan Morais. I was like, who's this Sheridan Morais character? And then they treated you like an absolute hero. And people often ask me, why does Shez run under Portuguese and that? And listen, South Africa's been great, and you've got a lot of support. You still have, you will forever have a lot of support from South Africa and that. But like you said, financially, to still be able to go racing, and even tuning in here, and the support that you get from the Portuguese Federation, the Portuguese fan, they really have made you one of their own, which is, it's something. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even from just never mind from the federation, just the support from Portugal and stuff. Look, the support at home, South Africa is home. I grew up there. I can't even speak Portuguese, because literally the area that I stay in Algarve, in Lagos, is like it's all South Africans actually, ex-South African, you can say. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the odd British and Dutch. But yeah, I grew up my entire life in South Africa, and yeah, all my friends are South African, all my everything is South African. So my wife's family is all Afrikaans. You don't get much more South African than that. And yeah, I mean, the support from South Africa is overwhelming as always, and obviously my biggest support from there, but nonetheless, support even from other countries, from America, from when I've raced there, just good. It's so nice to always have support and that. And yeah, from both South Africa and Portugal, I've got massive amounts of it. So it's really cool.
Yeah, I know, it's awesome. It really is great to see the support that you've been given, even all over the years. People still want to know what you're doing, want to hear from you. It's fantastic, because I think you've done enough to really stamp your authority in the legacy of motorcycle racing, not only for South Africa but on the world scene. So it's cool. I think you deserved it. There was a question here, now I've lost it. Here we go. Mariska Hutchinson shares, which track is your favorite? Because you've probably ridden more tracks than probably anyone else on this planet. I mean, there's Almeria, there's all these little tracks that we don't see on the World Endurance, MotoGP, World Superbike calendar. You've done all of those. So very good question from Mariska, and I'm keen to actually hear that answer.
I'd say actually some of the best tracks. My favorite one would be Monza, but I mean, no one's raced there in a long time. Just because of the speed and the like atmosphere around it and the forests and all that. That's really, really cool track. Obviously Kyalami. I would say Kyalami is probably my favorite track. I haven't got to ride there in a lot of anger now, but I would like to do that. I would really like to do that. The old Kyalami was my favorite all-time track, and now the new one, I think it's got the potential to replace it maybe. But Portimao, 100%. It's you've ridden there. It's a roller coaster. Even from TV, people call it a roller coaster, and the TV does not do it justice. So I'd say Portimao is probably at the moment number one now.
And Laguna Seca, how did that? Because I mean, there's not many people that have said they've ridden in anger around Laguna Seca, and I know you've said to me before that that's a proper one. But I look at it again and again and again, and especially with modern day bikes, I look at it and I think, how the hell do you guys get motorbikes around there? Because it's a goat kart track, man.
Yeah, well, that one was actually the opposite. Normally, the TV doesn't do tracks justice. Where that track on TV looks like this massive track and venue and whatever. And yeah, of course, the actual ground that it's built on is really big and etc. But the track's super narrow and like the corkscrew isn't quite as bad quite as dramatic as what it looks like on TV and that. But yeah, a really cool track. Like it's like a Port Elizabeth, Aldo Scribante, it's like that on steroids, I'd say. It's really cool with a little bit more elevation now.
Yes, yeah, that's one place I would have loved to have got to.
Yeah.
Patrick Anderson's asking you, have you been growing your beard since 2017?
No, this was actually just the lockdown in Macau. I went there, forgot all my shears, all my stuff, so I just let it be. And I just get my mouth clean because that stuff irritates me. And yeah, now I've got on holiday with the family, and I'm just gonna leave it, I think.
Yeah, we're happily married. We don't have to impress our wives anymore. I do the same.
Although Ed is disgusted by the thing.
Who cares? We happily married. It's fine. Let's talk World Endurance then. 2022, a good year for you. I mean, it's always tough because it's such a short championship, and if you have bad luck at one race out of I think there's 7 on the calendar. I mean, it really does dent your hopes. You guys didn't go to Suzuka because it's just, the budget and the cost involved to do it when you weren't really challenging for the number 1 plate in the championship. But other than that, a really good season, for you and the team, the team Wojciech. It's a big team. It's not as big as some of the other teams, but I got to see firsthand. It's actually a really well run team. Like I said, a bunch of muscled up Polish guys that are very strict with everything. When you Shez's hospitality, when you go to MotoGP, you get given a plate. They come fetch your plate from you and wipe your mouth for you, and it's all very nice and pretty. I was like thrown in there. Listen, there's your plate. There's the food. When you're done, you got to wash your own plate. Like I felt like I was in boarding school.
Clean up or we snap you. Yeah.
Yes, I felt like I was really in boarding school. But it was a really well-run operation, and I got to see there was a lot of drama in that race weekend. I mean, the bike blew up. It was literally on fire, that race. But that team just doesn't know how to give up.
Yeah, 100%. And you wouldn't notice it because their results only started to show for the last few years. But they've been in the championship and racing for a long time, and it all started pretty much from passion, just out of interest and just grown from there. And the guys have literally been learning from the best because they've started off with obviously having your companies like Yacht and these kinds of guys building their engines, even running at the track like as crew chiefs and stuff. And the team just over the years has learned and built up, and now they're like literally a force to be reckoned with. Our team was on Dunlops, like standard Dunlops this year, like literally the stuff you can buy off of the shelves. And at each race we have 2 compounds to use, and it's good luck, and the teams we're up against are factory Bridgestone, which is MotoGP tires, and then obviously you've got the factory Dunlops, which are, again, I wouldn't say it's the level of MotoGP Bridgestones, but they still they come to a track with like 15 different options. And even so, our team was still a force to be reckoned with, and we were still always nibbling at the podium positions and doing really well both in qualifying and in racing. So I think the team's done, even just since I joined them 2 years ago, the team's grown so much. But that's the only thing. It's really a pity that in one 24-hour race you're accumulating more mileage than a full season of World Supersport. So although we only get 4 or 5 events, it's for that reason. You know, you're killing a season of tires, a season of engines, a season of everything. You know, so it is pretty tough in that sense. But I wouldn't want more 24 hours at the same time, if you know what I'm saying. Back when I first started with the endurance stuff, we'd do one, maybe two 24 hours a year, and then the rest would all be 8 hours and maybe a little bit more events. But yeah, as it stands now, to do three 24 hours in 1 year, it's killer. It's really mentally, it's destroying. Physically, it's hard, but mentally, it's destroying. Yeah.
You know, I mean, I didn't do much that 24 hour. You did come back and we kind of we stayed up that whole 24-hour Le Mans race and you helped the riders and we did what we could. But I was struggling just to stay awake and I was just walking around taking videos and pictures and stuff. I wasn't even riding the bike. So it's grueling what you guys go through in that 24 hour. Like I said, I don't think many people will actually put their hands up to say they will want to do because it's a 24-hour at lap record pace. It's not, the Red Star 24 hours, which were great and fun. I mean, I couldn't believe the pace. The fastest time was posted at like 2:30 in the morning in the pitch black, because cool track conditions, the Bridgestones worked perfectly. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe the level and the whole environment that is World Endurance. It was absolutely epic. Speaking of that, I mean, the Bold Door 24-hour had to be one of the highlights, dare I say, of your career. I mean, I love that shot of you throwing your helmet in the crowd. To finish second at the Bold Door, the 100th running of the Bold Door 24-hour, must have been amazing. But at the same time, it was like a stab in the eye, because with an hour left, you guys were leading. You were finally going to win it. There was nothing going to hold you back. And then your chain, I think, falls off.
Yeah, really. I think I got a curse. I told the whole team it's my fault. They can put it all on me. Even though I wasn't on the bike, it was my teammate Matthew. I mean, it's not right error, but the chain came off when he was on the bike. But I told the team they can just blame me, because even Daytona did all the work, had a gap, thought I had the race, and on one straightaway go, they closed the gap and put me in third place. So yeah, I think I don't know. I must have done some bad stuff in the past that I don't even know about. But yeah, it's been a year of having victories swiped away. But still, I mean, we have to be really happy for the team to. I mean, for a top 5 for us is like that's a win for us already. So yeah, to have won the event, man, that would have gone home really well. But yeah, still happy with second day.
That must have been incredible, though. I mean, that picture of you standing on that podium, and there's just thousands of people there. I mean, you've been at World Superbikes, you've been British Superbike podiums, you've been World Super Sport podiums. That must have been one, that you're going to keep in your mind for a very long time.
Yeah, definitely. You know me with my helmets, especially like on that design. I only got 2 of them, so from Kali, and yeah, the I don't want. I'll never throw a helmet away, not a chance. But it was just it was so intense, the atmosphere. And my teammate Dan Linford said, "Man, I think I'm gonna throw my helmet." I said, "Yeah, I think let's do it." And then Dan threw his one like scar. I thought I was gonna kill somebody, and they went berserk. And then I knew I wasn't going to pull out. I was going to initially just let him throw his one, but no. Then I threw it, and I threw it like a rugby ball. And yeah, the guys all afterwards. It was actually so cool, because whoever had caught it had like all the riders that they could find sign the helmets and stuff. And then eventually got to us, and we signed the helmets, and we are just something really cool. I'll never forget. And I was lucky enough that they got a really cool photo of it as well. So yeah, I think that was best helmet thrower ever.
I must be honest. I was miffed. I was very miffed, because I saw this beautiful helmet and I was like, the little MF whatever bastard shit faced knob. I don't even have a helmet, and now some French guy in the middle of nowhere has got a brand new Sheridan Morais worn replica at a Bold Door, and I was so upset. But I look at it now and I think that is something that person will take to his grave. There's no, I mean, that made the man's lifetime, I'm sure. But that's something, not a lot of people get to say. We got to throw a helmet into the crowd, finishing on the 100th edition of the Bold Door. So yeah, I think that was a brilliant gesture. I think it's fantastic, and yeah, hopefully, maybe one day I'll get my helmet. I don't know. Sad.
You must go to Africa and take it home with you.
Yeah, no, I don't know. We'll make a plan. We'll make a plan.
Your one's the camo one, so you won't find it.
I still want that one. The Essen, if everyone remembers Shez's, it was Essen World Supersport race. Hey, that's the one.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that double-sided camo one. That's the one that I want. So yeah, I just got to find it first. That's the problem. Where is this? Okay, so now moving on to Macau. Before we get into the question from Nicole, and it's kind of part of this question. You know, were you nervous of doing Macau? And then, at what point did so the team phones you and says, "Hey, Shares, we've got this great opportunity. We want to go race Macau." How do you see see the past races? AJ Fenter's gone and done it. How do you watch that and tell yourself, "Cool, let me go give it a shot"?
That's the thing, you know me, and so I'm telling this answer for everyone else because you know what I'm like, and I don't look at tracks, I don't do any of that stuff. So my team Pence, that team, obviously I do the world endurance for Team Wojcik, and in for Pence I did endurance before, but since then they've pulled out of the world endurance and they now do the Daytona. They do one-off events with me. So the Daytona I did for them on the R6, and also then they do the IRRC and Isle of Man. They do like all those road racing events, and obviously the Macau forms part of that thing that they do. And the Macau hasn't happened in the last 3 or 4 years since this COVID thing started. So they've always spoken to me about it, said, "Oh, you must come to Macau. You have to come to Macau. You'll love it." Blah blah blah. So that's all I've heard about it, just them building it up and that. And obviously I've seen pictures with yellow walls, essentially
Walls.
yellow and black walls everywhere and stuff like that. But I mean, you assume that it's like one or two places on the track and the rest of it's okay. So with me having done one road race before in my life at Froberg, and I went there and it was actually like just open fields really, so it was kind of a racetrack, to be honest. I would say like Midval, I would say like that, maybe a little bit more dangerous but safe enough. So I figured this Macau thing, seeing as so many races like have gone there before, like proper like track races, I figured it would be all right. So obviously I said yes to them. They're such a good team to me that even if I had doubts, I would have probably just gone for their sake, you know. And yeah, then when I got there, first of all, we sat in quarantine and blah, blah, blah. So I figured, oh, let me look at a YouTube video. And I watched the YouTube video, and I think that was the worst thing I could have done because then it was just in my head. Like I was like, what? It's just walls the whole way around this place. It's like, even if you hit a neutral or if your sump plug falls out and you've got oil on your back wheel, there's nowhere to go but just, I don't know, put your head between your ass and legs and kiss your ass goodbye. But so that was playing with me a lot. And yeah, it wasn't nice to just get there and look at all of it, and then they take you around in the bus, and that actually makes it even worse because you see how fast the stuff is. But going on from there, free practice, I was so nervous and stuff, but then just got better and better. And then by the end of the race, I wanted more, you know, which is, I guess, yeah, it's the way you want to be, but you also think where the limits are.
How did you learn? I messaged you the night before practice and I said, "Oh, so what have you watched? You know, do you know where you're going?" And that you're like, "No, I'll figure it out when I climb on the bike." Isn't there something like 240 corners and it's like a 10-minute lap or something? How did you learn that track?
Yeah, it's a 2 minute 30 lap or I think the best was 2:27. So it's a lot. It is a very long lap because most of it's really fast as well. So it's a very long lap. I think it's probably 7 kilometers or something like that, which is long for a road circuit or even normal short circuit. But on the roads, and remember, that's all walls. And part of us racers, like learning a track, is being able to see where you're going. You know, that's not one of the first things that every coach is telling the riders is that we never had that kind of stuff, obviously. But these days, there's just coaches everywhere, and they all tell the guys you got to look through the turns, and you got to this, and you got to that, and that there is none of that because it's walls everywhere. You cannot look through a turn. You see the exit of the turn when you arrive at it, you know. And even the entries, like it was the first, yeah, like you say, I try to watch some YouTube stuff, but I need Ritalin. I haven't got the attention span to sit and watch that and actually learn it. You know, I watch 3 turns and then I'm like looking at my phone and just over it. So I learned tracks the first session I go to them, and this one was like so tough for references, for everything. The first session I felt like a backmarker. But yeah, I think the nerves didn't help it either, just of the consequence and me thinking the guys, obviously they would, but you always just play it in your mind. What if the brakes are loose? What if this? What if that? So first session was really bad for me, but then, like I said, just built on from there. And I actually, once I got over that factor of like, okay, nothing's gonna fall off the bike or the engine's not gonna pop while I'm flat out in fourth gear with walls next to me in a turn. Um, Once I got over that the bike's safe enough, because obviously I didn't get to ride the bike before the event. Then I was okay. Then I jumped big steps and stuff, and we're fast, so it wasn't too bad.
I mean, did you find it easier following people? Because I mean, a lot of the names that were at the Macau, certainly on the podium with you. I mean, I've never heard of them before. I've never heard or seen of them before, but they're obviously ridiculously fast to be on the podium there.
Yeah.
But it's like you said, it's a different kind of riding style compared to normal track and that. But I mean, did you find it easier in the race now being surrounded by guys and being able to follow? I mean, did you follow anyone in practice?
No, I mean, again, this, but it's not my style to follow people. And even in practice and stuff, I just rode around on my own, doing my own thing. And the person I trust the most is myself. So I always just go and just do my thing and don't worry about slips and what. Even Daytona, I mean, that place is, I think, 90% of the tracks at 100% throttle. So everyone looks for slipstreams for a lap time, blah, blah, blah. I did every session on my own, and it's just the way I do things, and I learn faster that way, actually. So I did that pretty much all the way, and even in the race, it's kind of what I was worried about, is that, I tell myself, yeah, it's a road race. I'll just go and do the event for the team and keep it chilled and do my best, obviously, as always. Otherwise, I wouldn't be there. But when the flag drops, I just hook it. And even there, I whole shot it, and I went 3 seconds faster than I'd ever been, even in qualifying. And I even started pulling a gap away. And I hit a neutral into a couple of times. I've been struggling with neutrals in first gear, that very, very tight right-hander. So I'd hit neutrals there a couple of times, but because it's so slow, I could just jam it back and get it into second to get around the turn or back to first. But then, after the third lap, when I was leading, into turn, so I hit a neutral, and that came past me into that right-hander, the tight one. And then I thought, okay, I'm the fastest in the last 2 sectors, which are the really fast ones, and it's more like a racetrack. And it's the only sectors you can actually pass. So I thought, okay, let me just sit here now and then do something at the end of the race. And when that exact lap into turn 1, which is a flat out, it's a really fast fourth gear turn. So you go fifth gear down to fourth, and then you get back onto the gas. And when I went from fifth to fourth, I hit a neutral there, and I was so close to crashing, because, as you know, when you go to neutral, it feels like you're actually getting on the gas. You just pick up speed. And obviously, with there not being the luxury of runoff and that kind of stuff, I had to just go into the turn. Like, I had no choice but to go into the neutral. And it's really bumpy, as you can see from the footage on TV and that. And I lost the front, managed going just like grazing off the wall. And after that, I think that lap I lost like 4 seconds. The next 2 laps I lost like another 3 or 4 seconds, just composing myself, because I was so scared this thing was going to neutral again. But it didn't, not in the fourth gear ones. And then I got myself going the last 3 or 4 laps of the race, whatever was left. And I closed the gap right up to second again, but just wasn't enough time, and I crapped myself.
So what are the spec of bikes in that there? I mean, they look like full-blown proper super bikes and tires and stuff compared to I mean, is it like what we run here or what we used to run here rule-wise in national super bikes?
The rules for the Macau is actually open. You can run, I think, Michael Rutter, he ran a MotoGP Honda there the last time they were there. So the rules are actually open for motorcycles. But because of all the restrictions, you were only allowed such little staff in that. I think each bike was allowed 2 mechanics and a manager, something like that. And some guys even just brought over 1 mechanic, and then everybody kind of helped each other because of all the restrictions. We had so much lockdown, and you were only allowed a certain amount of stuff to bring in your crates and that. So most guys all of us actually rode just super stock bikes. Some guys had a super stock bike just with forks in, like our bike, most guys. The BMWs obviously had their factory electronics, and then I think Olin's forks. But essentially everybody was on super stock bikes. And even for tires, most people just went safe and just went with Pirelli or Metzeler tires, and just brought over like 4 or 5 sets of tires. So it was that limited, which I think again made it quite cool, quite fair.
Yeah.
Erno that won it from Finland, he's been there quite a few times, and he's fast. He's had a top 5 there, I think, the last time they were there, and he's a lot of top 10s in that. So he's really fast, and him and David, they've both been winning all the IRRC races this year, and they've been on Pirelli and Metzeler the whole year. So for them, it wasn't really a change up. 1 or 2 guys were Dunlop, but yeah, nothing. There was nothing special. No MotoGP Bridgestones or Michelins or anything like that. So yeah, it was quite a nice level playing field and really great crowd of guys. When I said earlier that the EWC, the World Endurance, is it's got a nice atmosphere and kind of like racing when we were growing up. The road racing is even more so. You know, it's so cool. Everybody's just buddies and relaxed, and everyone just goes eats together. And after the sessions are talking to each other. Did you see this? Did you see that? Did you see that banner hanging off the wall that I hit? Like, just so cool, you know. Whereas like short circuit racing's changed a little, but it's not really like that anymore. So just a very nice paddock to be around, and always nice to be with my old team that I started riding for quite a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. So moving forward, I mean, you seem to be becoming this endurance and road racing superstar. Some guys asking here, Marcel Witter, hi Shez, I'm looking forward to Daytona with you and the Pence team. So talk us through your plans. Obviously, Daytona potentially on the cards for next year again, and then if Ads and your mom are listening, I want them to block their ears. Your dad will probably love to hear it, but I mean, people are asking about, you've done Macau now. What is the possibility of the Isle of Man TT? And I'm also cringing at hearing the answer, because in one way I'd be like, yeah, cool, give it a go. But yeah, I don't know. I think that might be, I don't know.
I mean, I've always told everyone I'll never do the TT and that, but if I knew what Macau was like, I probably wouldn't have ever gone there either. And I ended up really enjoying it. So yeah, I got asked that question a lot in Macau, because it seems it's such a prestigious event for them. It's their only race that they get, and it's so big, and they put so much effort into it. So because now that event is massive for them over there, they follow obviously the TT and the road racing scene. So they all ask me the same stuff over there, and I mean, just to be honest, it's not like, I just hope I don't get offered it. That's all. You know what I mean? I don't hope I don't have to make that decision. At the end of the day, it's like, it's fair. I don't need to tell most people on here. It's families, it's this kind of stuff. So it's for that reason that I don't want to have to make a decision. But at the same time, it's my job. It's what feeds this family. So, yeah, I don't know. Just like Macau, if I knew what Macau was about, I would just hope that I didn't get put into that position. But I am a racer and I do love it. And yeah, that's kind of the only reason I don't want to do it, is because when the flag drops, you forget about all the common sense,
Yeah, that's the thing. I know, because when I spoke to you before Macau, no, I'm just going to cruise around and take it easy and blah, blah, blah. And then you go lead half the race and finish on the podium. So I know you. I know it's, just to let everyone know, you can't play a game of Monopoly with Sheridan, because nothing is fun, because it becomes so damn competitive that everything turns into a race with this oak. So I knew, as soon as I read that, I thought, oh, okay. I like how he tries to tell himself that he's not going to take it easy now and not go for the win. And then as soon as you launch the line in the lead, I thought, oh God, here we go. This break lap records, and you're gonna try and win the race and scrape his head on the wall and stupid stuff. So, but I'm glad. Listen, it went off well. I think you did a phenomenal job. The TT is a tough one. It is. I mean, it's something that I would also never entertain until you are asked the question and the opportunity arises. Like you said, I don't race anymore, and I miss it, but it's not that vital for me. But you offer me a bike to go ride around the streets here in the snow, and I'll say yes. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's always a hard one. But you must be excited at the possibility of doing Daytona again. You've got some unfinished business there.
Yeah, definitely. Pens are busy working. Rico Penskoffer, the owner of the team, and named after him. Yeah, he's working endlessly. The equipment and that is all there already. They just left it there for the year because they felt they had unfinished business as well. So they've left it at our main title sponsor over there, Pura Globe Syntanix. they've left it at their headquarters there. So luckily that's a big part of the budget. The logistics, everything is done already. So yeah, the next, I think the difficult part is just the travel, all that kind of stuff. Once they've got that all sorted out, we're pretty much 99% there already. So yeah, looking forward to Daytona, and yeah, a lot of unfinished business. But again, you don't know. You saw from that race what slipstream and pit tactics and stuff. But I mean, we came from World Endurance, so we know a lot about endurance racing and pit stops. But even us, we took back stuff to go home with because we did an unnecessary pit stop. I wouldn't say pit stop, but an unnecessary tire change in the pit stop where we lost a lot of time. So um, I think we have little things that we've learned as a team to go forward next year. And if we do that, if we do the exact same thing as this year, but with that tire change, then it changes the whole scheme of things. There is no slipstream to count on. So yeah, we'll look at changing a few little things like that. Myself as well, obviously, just had some time off after Macau now, started training. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to Daytona because again, a super event to go to. The American people in general in that racing paddock, and I suppose I don't know what you call it. It's so big over there, but it's a massive racing fraternity over there, and they also just like the road racing, and that very happy people, and everyone's supportive, and oh, it was really cool. A lot of South Africans there, nice to see as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that as my next event being in March. That'll be the next race I do. Yeah.
So speaking of 2023, what are the plans then? I mean, is it still World Endurance? Mario was asking here, what's the possibility of World Superbikes, Moto 2 and all that? I think those kind of opportunities, I know you did a couple of World Supersport races not so long ago, but even that paddock seems to be diluted now by all these Moto 2 riders coming in. Taryn McKenzie, the BSB Superbike champion from last year, he's now riding a factory Honda next year there. It seems like World Supersport is now become a proper serious class where it had a dodgy last couple of years. I wouldn't say dodgy, but it wasn't as competitive as it's going to be. So I mean, what are your opportunities going forward? Is World Endurance and these odd road races and Daytona's kind of the only thing on the cards?
Yeah, I mean, with the World Endurance getting so serious now and the level so high across the whole field, I'm actually fortunate that Wojcik let me go and do these races, the Daytona and these one-off races. They always let me do, and not only let me do it, they're really fully supportive of it. So I'm really lucky in that sense because like I say, the World Endurance is getting so competitive. And if one rider gets injured doing another event, the team has like big consequences and a lot of drama after that. So I'm lucky that they let me go and do other events. But in saying that, I'll only be doing planned is obviously the Daytona, and then see what else Pence wants to do other than that. I'm interested in doing a couple of the events like Froberg and maybe Matra in Finland or something like that. And then yeah, just focused on the World Endurance Championship. And hey, look, if a World Super Sport or something like that comes up, you know me, I haven't got a no in me. I just say yes. So if a good opportunity comes up, I'll try and grab it. Of course, I'll always try and grab it. So yeah, let's see what it brings. I've always been just spur of the moment, just taking what I can get. So yeah, but I am very happy to be in the World Endurance again, and yeah, looking forward to going there because we're looking at some changes, none done yet inside the team. So we'll see. Hopefully it can be stuff to make us a little bit more competitive. Yeah.
So last question before your car battery goes flat with your car light on there.
I've got it running. I'm using all the diesel.
So last question then. Brad, Darren Binder, MotoGP this year. Just give us your thoughts on that. I mean, Brad, great season, making the best out of a tough situation. Getting better with the KTM. Still looking for that little bit more consistency from the KTM package. But Brad, we know what a talent he is. Proved that he is one of the finest talents in the world and in that paddock. And then Daz also. Tough first season in MotoGP. He was never really given a proper chance. We spoke to Daz. I've highlighted it on a couple of occasions. But yeah, give us your 2 cents on those two boys.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think MotoGP is the one formula that actually has it nailed because even Darren coming in his first year on a bad weekend, he was only 2 seconds off the pace. So I think MotoGP really have the formula good, as in everybody gets the same electronics, everybody gets the same bike, whether you like manufacturers, they're all pretty close. And I mean, the electronics, the bikes, and the tires. Obviously, the tires are the biggest thing. So nowadays, that everybody gets the same tires and electronics, I think they've really MotoGP especially. I mean, those are serious bikes, serious horsepower, serious everything. And for the times to be so close across the whole field, they've done a good job there, definitely. And then, yeah, I mean, Darren, firstly, like I said, on his worst weekends, he was only 2 seconds off the pace. So you got to put that in, and that don't even look at the mental aspect of it for him, knowing that he has to do something ridiculous for him to stay in that paddock. Like I'm talking finish top fives, and that was the only way he was going to stay there, unfortunately. But yeah, with all of that pressure, with it being his first year, with everything, he still did an amazing job. And when there were like little tricky conditions, he'd get a really good result. When he starts with always power, really, really good starts. And then he'd do better lap times than even in qualifying in the race and hanging with the guys in 12th, 11th, 13th place. So, and most times those are guys that have been on the podium this year. So I think Darren did an excellent job over there. And yeah, I just hope that the Moto 2 thing can. I mean, I don't know what the years. I don't know if it's a 1 year thing or what, but it would be nice if he can have a few years, because the chances of going there and just winning are really slim. We see guys that dominate now that didn't do that. So look at Fabio Quartararo now. I mean, I think everybody, just like with Brad, says, "Yo, imagine that guy's on a Ducati." I think him, Brad, and Mark Marquez, everyone's saying, "Imagine them on a Ducati," kind of thing. And for him, it's the exact same thing. So yeah, but Daz, I think awesome job. I just hope he can go Moto 2 and yeah, get a fair shot and a fair few years, because as you've seen, that's what it takes, a long, long time to make a success out of this thing. And yeah, then onto Brad again. Every year is amazing. I think he said he didn't get a win this year, but I mean, obviously, he was always top KTM. And if Miguel was ahead of him, it was pretty close, at least anyway. And always just when there's tricky conditions, when there's any doubt, he just changes the scene, which you have to admire. I think mentally super humble. Super unassuming, all of these things, and just all around nice guy. Rode his socks off of everything. If he finished the race, it was all he had. So, yeah, that was really good. And obviously, the last one at Valencia, that was, I think everyone knows that was his race, actually. We've all given him the first place trophy. But, yeah, really, 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 really great year for both of them, I think. And looking forward to the next. I think I probably said this exact thing last year, but KTM, I mean, who else is selling motorcycles these days? Let's be honest. KTM are the only ones, and they've got massive support both from the factory and then obviously from Red Bull. So I think in terms of budget, they have what it takes to go forward where other people maybe have to hold back. I don't even know how Suzuki was there, because obviously I don't know what they sell. But yeah, I think KTM definitely have the backing to get the right people doing the work behind the scenes, so that the riders can do the best job there. And I think he has one hell of a teammate coming as well, in terms of being a person and rider. So I think next year is going to be killer for them as well.
Yeah, I think you got it spot on there. I'm really excited for it. Hopefully, yeah, man, I miss you. Hopefully, you can come over with the family sometime. We've got a spare room upstairs here for you guys. Nice double bed. You'll all fit in there comfortably, because you small, skinny people. Yeah, man, you need to come over here, spend some time with us, and hopefully I can be with you at a couple of all endurance races next year. Show the South African public some more of that, some behind the scenes stuff, and yeah, maybe go to 1 or 2 MotoGP races. I'm hoping to do that. I definitely want to do Portimao first round, so we can go stay at Paul Pacheco's house and eat all his food, and stay in our spare room there, and get chauffeured around, which is always a nice thing. And then hopefully hit a couple of those races and spend some time together. But Shares, thanks so much, man. It's been great catching up with you. It's always brilliant to hear your stories. It's great that you're still racing, doing the Macau. I didn't ever think I'd ever see my Shares do the Macau, but I'm glad you came out of it. I think you did a fantastic job. And yeah, let's look forward to the future. Maybe, yeah, if I'm going to start training, I promise you I'm going to start training from the 1st of January. My New Year's resolution is to train so that if by any chance Danny Webb or one of your Oaks gets injured, Uncle Rob can make a world endurance appearance. And then I could take you to the top step of the podium.
No, thank you guys. I really appreciate it as always, Rob, and everybody. The support. I mean, I say it every time we talk, but the support is it's overwhelming, and it's so lucky for us to know that we've got this kind of support behind us. And even when I come home, everyone contacting and stuff and meeting up, it's really cool. And yeah, I love it because again, it always goes back to when we were kids, and even when you and I are talking, when I'm talking to my dad, it's all these stories of when we were kids and stuff, and you think of how different it was. And I mean, it's not that long ago, and it was like just a different world completely. And yeah, it's so cool to see the support because it reminds me of the support I gave and the passion I had for the sport and motorcycles in general.
Yeah, it is fantastic. Nicole Brett, sorry, I didn't answer your question. She asked when I was going to come back to South Africa and me and you could race again. I would love that. Yes, whenever I speak to shares like this, it does. It rewinds to those days where, like you said, sleeping over at Lichtenberg in the tent, and our dads used to fall over drunk on the tent and make us reverse the cars with the trailers when we were 9 years old. You know, we couldn't even reach the pedals, and
Yeah.
you know, all those good racing days. So yeah, that's memories I'll certainly never forget. And yeah, like I said, hopefully I would love to. I would love to share the track with my shares again. So hopefully that'll happen sometime soon. So keep a lookout on Motor Rider World, and we'll bring you hopefully we'll bring you that footage of the GoPro of me doing my utmost to hang on to the Sheridan Morais that's just smoking it up everywhere. We need to make that footage happen again. That one video we put of you sliding where I stood on the side of the track with my cell phone and you nearly severed my head. I mean, that thing had like 3 million views. So we need to make that kind of stuff happen again. We do.
Yeah, but you mustn't film it with your Nokia 6110 next time.
Yeah, no. Technology's come on. We do need to invest in a like a GoPro or something. So yeah, hoping to do some track days or something at least with you next year. I've got to get to Portimao on one of your bikes. Paul Pacheco's bought half of the World Superbike Yamaha team now, so we can climb on one of his bike, eat his food, shower in his shower, use all his water and electricity, and then go ride Portimao. I think that's the plan.
Yeah, come Racer Camp. I work for them in the summers. Racer Camp, come to one of them, and they've got all the Hondas and stuff, and we'll do lots of stuff there. Lots of riding, lots of smoking tires, and lots of fun.
That's it. Let's do it. So, Shares, thank you so much again to everyone that tuned in, all the comments, all the support, not only for Shares, myself, and Motor Rider World. We can't thank you enough. If we don't hear from you or hear from us before Christmas, have a great Christmas, and then a happy and healthy New Year, and we'll catch up with you all soon. Shares, my bud, also same to you. All the best with Christmas and buying the Christmas presents for your beautiful family, and yeah, catch up with you hopefully soon, and have a great Christmas and New Year.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Rob. Appreciate it, man.
Take it easy, my bud. Love you lots, and chat soon. Cheers, everyone.